G'day mates, this is FPP here, and today we're going to be looking at building an underwater item sorter. An underwater item sorter. Update 1.14 obviously brought the conduit and underwater bases being a much more likely and possible way to build in Minecraft. However, Redstone is still a bit lacking, so if we look at the basic sort of item sorter that we do have in these sort of setups, the littlest amount of water is going to absolutely wreak havoc on this thing. Probably more in Java version than in Bedrock, but that's the way it goes unfortunately, just because we have repeaters and also comparators that you cannot build underwater in Java. So if you were going to build something like this in Java, I'm probably going to say that you're going to want to surround it with a lot of wood, a lot of obsidian, and hope that you've never at any point accidentally drilled into it, because if you do, it's going to just destroy the whole thing. So in Bedrock though, we've got a little bit of a cheaty sort of get around for it. It's not really a cheat as much as good design. So underneath the water in Bedrock, we can build comparators without any actual issue. We still can't use redstone dust or torches unfortunately, but there's some ways to get around this. So as you can see, here is a very expensive item sorter. Kind of an interesting design. I think it actually looks a little bit better than this one. Let's get on with it and show you how to build it. So this is your line that just runs across, basically providing items to your system. This is nothing really too special, and this is going to be just a platform so that we can show what it looks like. The first thing that you really want to start with is basically just deciding what items you want and how many you're going to need, so that you have a rough idea of resources. But as for the machine, it's fairly straightforward despite the fact that it looks fairly complicated. From here we have a hopper. This is the very first thing that you want to build, is basically just start with one hopper, and this is going to be shared between this module and the one next to us here. So from here, what we'll do is we're just going to chuck 2 blocks like this, and we're also just going to chuck some blocks up like this so that we can build some hoppers. So we're going to just do that and that. These are both just facing straight down, so nothing too special. Now from here, what we want to do is we want to run a comparator. The comparator is going to be sensing this hopper right here, and it doesn't need to be in subtract or addition mode or anything like that. Now the next thing that we'll do is we're just going to chuck a comparator out of here into subtract mode just by right clicking it. You'll see inside this hopper we've got 24 items. That's your minimum that you're going to need in here. I generally recommend 24. It's just going to be a bit easier. So from here, what we're going to do is just put one block there and one there. Now you have the option of whether or not you want to put these lamps here. I put them here just because I think they look good, but they serve absolutely no service to the device whatsoever. So that's kind of a bit of a useless thing, but it is what it is. So next, what we're going to do is just replicate what we've got over here. So we're just going to grab 2 sticky pistons. I'm going to be building 2 modules at the same time, just to give you a really good sort of idea. In fact, I might even just build 1, just so that it's a bit more clear as to what's going on. And underneath this, we're just going to chuck a redstone block. Now in Bedrock Edition, this is something also to keep in mind, that Java Edition, it will actually bud power the piston right here. In Bedrock Edition, it doesn't. So that's a little bit of a handy tool that we have quite as well. So we're just going to chuck in that one as you can see it, and the next thing that we're just going to do is grab a piston, just something like that, and a hopper, and we want to feed this hopper into this chest, so you're going to have to be crouching from here. And as you can see, just to check it, you can see that this hopper is going into here. When it's straight down, it looks something a bit like this. So if it looks like this, rebuild it, crouch, and point it in towards the chest. If it looks like this, you've done it correctly. So from here, all we have to do is basically choose what items we want to put into here, So we're going to need to lock up this hopper. That's basically how these work, is that we're actually just locking it up. I'm just going to use 4 wooden swords. If you have other non-stackable items such as tridents or say shears, what else is non-stackable? Armor, basically bows as well, elytras. If you use elytras, you are a nutcase. Compasses, whatever you sort of can't stack into groups of 64 like this. Now we also need to choose what items we want to sort, so I'm going to choose bone meal blocks just because it's a recent addition to Bedrock, which thank Mojang that they've finally added this. It was so absolutely painful that they didn't add this up until now in 1.14, but you'll see that from here I've just basically chucked in your non-stackable items and 64 of whatever we're sorting. And this one, we're just going to grab this, put 1 in each, and the rest in here. Now you're going to see that it starts working from here, which will go down to about 15 to 18. It varies between the different ones, and as you see, it's gone down to 16 on this one. The reason for this is simply that there's a bit of a delay between the 2 pistons firing, and so basically that's our main design from here. How you want to build the next one, right next to it is putting a chest here, and all you want to do is basically do the exact same but in the mirror opposite. So you're just going to be putting a piston here instead, putting 1 on that side, and then chucking 1 in like that. I need to angle it in there, so like that, and then I can put this one back. So it's quite a simple design, it's nothing too complex as you probably noticed already, but it's quite an expensive thing and it's not the cheapest to build. But on the same extent, I've got to say that I think it's quite a useful sort of endeavor if you are actually building underwater and Bedrock. On the very last one, you're going to want to have 1 module without all the rest of the stuff. So you're going to want to have something a little bit like this, which has no filter to it whatsoever, and it just goes straight in here. So if you do happen to put something into the system that it can't sort, it will basically just chuck it into the last chest, and that will be that. And you can make it look kind of like the rest, or you can just basically hide it. They can't obviously work too close together, so you're going to have a 3 gap between each 2 chests at the very least, so that's something to take into account. I think this is, as far as I could tell, the first time that someone's actually built a item sorter that works underwater. So catch you later, mates, and I'll be off.